Hi Anju, welcome to NEXWEB podcast.
Hi, Shristi. Thank you for inviting me today to your program.
Anju, you are studying PhD in Environment Science in Australia. Can you please share your background as an international student and the reason for choosing to study PhD in Australia?
Okay, so first of all, for the people who don't know me, my name is Anju RANA, and I'm originally from Nepal, and I'm doing PhD in Southern Cross University. So there is a bit of a story why I chose to do PhD in Australia. So I did my bachelor's and master's in environmental science in 2013. And after that, I was associated with a few environmental organizations. And then after working for a few years, I felt it was very monotonous and it was related to more of the administrative job. And then I felt this is not what I wanted to do. So I was more inclined towards the research sector. And since I already did my master's, my next step was to do a PhD. At that time, I was very clear that I want to take one international degree. So I wanted to apply to different universities, reputed universities around the world. So I did apply for various universities in US, Australia, or even in the European countries. And at that time, I got a lot of rejections. And then one day I heard that there is a program called Master of Research in Australia. This program is designed in such a way that it will enhance your research skills, and basically it is regarded as a pathway for a PhD. So I thought, why not a Master of Research? And after completing that Master of Research, I can apply for PhD later on. So I came to Australia in 2016 to do Master of Research in Macquarie University. And after completing that, I started to apply for PhD. And then again, I received a lot of rejection. And after a couple of years, I got response from two or three universities. And I chose to do my PhD in Southern Cross University. So I'm here doing my PhD.
You said that you had lots of rejection from different countries and different university here in Australia.
Mhm.
Can you share the main reason of rejection while analyzing your past life?
Yeah, so I think the main reason for the rejection is I didn't have adequate skills to do a PhD. PhD is a subject or the program where you have to be able to do independent research. So maybe the professors or even the Nepalese degree was not sufficient to fulfill the criteria of a PhD program. So maybe that is the reason.
I have heard that when you have completed the bachelor degree and after bachelor, when you study 1 year of any qualification, you are also entitled to enroll in PhD. Is it true, or you have to always study the master degree?
No, I think after the bachelor's also you can do the PhD. In case of Australia, I think it's called honors degree. So after you finish the honors degree, you can shift to the PhD. But sometimes if you don't meet the minimum eligibility criteria, you have to do some sort of research before you start your PhD. So for example, after your bachelor's, you completed some degree which is related to your research, then on that basis you can go to the PhD program. But sometimes it is not the case. If you take only the coursework, like if you do bachelor's in environmental science and again you don't have any thesis or any research project, then you don't qualify for the PhD. You have to have some research experience as well.
Wow. Can you share your PhD process, like choosing the PhD topic or PhD supervisor? That might be helpful to those who are watching you right now.
Yeah, it's not that complicated. It's like looking for a job. For example, if you want to work as an accountant, what you'll do is you just try to search different job portals, or you will go to the website of the organization where you want to work. So it is similar. Applying for this PhD program is first identifying your research interest. So in which sector you want to do your research. So for example, if you are an environmentalist, you may want to do research in climate change or wetlands or any sector related to botany or zoology. So first you have to identify in which sector you want to do your research. And then next step is to find out the professors or the university who is working on that field. For example, for climate change, you need to identify professors or the people who are doing similar sort of work, and then you have to approach them So this is the first step. So after identification of your research interest, you have to ask the supervisor whether they are willing to supervise you. And when the supervisor says, yes, I can take you, sometimes they might say that I cannot take you, I may take you in another year, so you have to wait for that. So when the supervisor says, yes, I have the capacity to take a PhD candidate, then he will ask you to put an application to the university. So again, after that, also you have to meet the minimum eligibility criteria of the university. And again, the university, if they say that you are competent and if the supervisor agrees, then you can be successful, but you have to be ready to receive the rejection as well, and then be persistent and try again and again. So yeah, it's not that complicated, but it's not that easy as well.
What was your eligibility criteria and how long it took?
Okay, so I did my Master of Research in 2018. I completed on that year. And then after that, I wanted to apply for permanent residency as well. So I had to do another degree called Masters of Information Technology. But after finishing that, I felt like I need to go back to my sector. So I started applying for PhD in 2021. So I got rejections for 1.5 years, I think, and then I get an offer from a university.
Anju, I have heard that there are lots of scholarship options for PhD in Australia. What about you? Can you share some financial requirements that is required for PhD?
Yes, so there are a lot of scholarship available for domestic as well as international students. In my case, I'm receiving a scholarship called Research Training Scholarship. So that is waiving my fees as an international student. And I'm also working for a project which is funded by Australian Research Council. So they also provide me the stipend to cover my living expenses. So there are a certain university which provide scholarship to the international student, but sometimes they only waive your fees. Sometimes they will waive your fees and give the stipend, and sometimes they will just fund the part of it, like they will give you 20,000, 50,000, and then rest of the amount you have to bear by yourself. So you have to understand while applying the scholarship which type of scholarship you want, but it's very competitive. You have to make sure that your academic credential is strong and you have enough research skills. And if you don't have it, then you might want to take some training or do some volunteer job to enhance your skills.
Anju, I have also heard that when a migrant parent is enrolled in PhD, they also are facilitated with the childcare subsidy. Is it true?
I also have a 2.5 years old baby. I also applied for a childcare subsidy thinking that I am eligible for that because it wasn't clear in the website. They mentioned that the international student who receive Australian government scholarship, they are eligible for the childcare subsidy. But when I applied, they asked me to get a letter which says you are receiving scholarship from the Commonwealth Australian government. So at that time, I didn't understand what is the difference between Commonwealth Australian government and the RTP scholarship that is again provided by Australian government. So there are certain scholarship which is provided directly from the Australian government, like Australian Award Scholarship, and the RTP scholarships are first given to the university and university gives it to you. So those PhD candidates who get the scholarship from the university, they are not eligible for the childcare subsidy. But if you receive directly from the Australian government, like Australian Award Scholarship, then you are eligible for the childcare subsidy. So if you are coming with the babies, you have to understand these things.
Okay. Anjal, what sort of research have you done or are doing during the study period?
As you know that I am an environmentalist, so I have done quite a few research related to environmental science, particularly carbon in higher lakes in Manaslu Conservation Area. Then after that, I did some research related to determining water quality using macroinvertebrates as indicators. And then when I came to Australia in 2016, I did one research related to planktonic metabolism and microbial activity in Macquarie Marsh. So currently the research I'm doing is somehow related to all of the research I have done before. So it is related to climate change. So if I have to specify my topics, it's related to modeling greenhouse gases from the Lake Eyre Basin, which is situated in the southern Australia. And I have great people working with me, like obviously from Southern Cross University, but I also have people helping me in the project from NASA and also from University of Maryland, USA. So I'm really excited for the project.
Wow. Anju, you are investing 4 to 5 years for PhD, research and study and many more things, and you are dreaming to have certain sort of life after 5 years. Do you think investing 4 to 5 years of life at this time, is it worth it?
Yeah, it depends on what is your aspirations and what you want to be in future. Because I want to work in the research sector, so I want to invest my 4 to 5 years to become a competent researcher. When you compare the duration with other degrees, like bachelor's degree also have 4 years. It's good that in Australia you can complete your PhD in 3.5 years as well. So yeah, it's not that bad, but the only difference is that during the bachelor's you don't have your family responsibilities. You rely on your parents, but when you are doing your PhD you are already in your 30s, 40s, or even 50s, so you have a lot of family responsibilities. So if you want to be a researcher, you have to sacrifice a little bit. That is also a difficult task. If you don't have your supporting family, then you can't do it. But you have to be very clear, and your family also have to be very clear that you will not be able to support family financially for 4 to 5 years. And after that, you can always earn money, and then I think it's a good opportunity to enhance your research skills. And after 4 or 5 years, you are a completely different person. You can take decisions more promptly. You will have critical thinking or analyzing capacity. You will also have comprehensive knowledge about your field of research, and it is very intellectually rewarding. So I think it's totally worth it, but it also depends on like personal aspirations.
You have mentioned that you have done a research about climate change and global warming. What's the main reason for climate change and global warming? And can you please share some simple tips by the general people to control it?
Okay, so I don't know if I can make it clear because it might be difficult for people who don't have experience or knowledge about this field. So the main reason for the climate change is increasing greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. So it can be carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxide. So if I have to simply say what is the reason behind increasing greenhouse gases in the atmosphere is pollution. So from our perspective, we can reduce the carbon dioxide emission if we reduce the pollution. But if we go in little bit depth, then it is also possible that the systems like wetland, grasslands, or the forest, they are also capable of emitting the carbon dioxide.
What is the significance of your research subject?
So I'm doing research in modeling greenhouse gas emissions from Lake Eyre Basin. The main significance of this research is to identify whether the Lake Eyre Basin is acting as an absorber of the carbon dioxide or the emitter of the carbon dioxide. So through the modeling approach, I will quantify carbon stored in the basin, and then I will also predict how much emissions will it do in another 100 years. So the main significance is it will identify whether it is contributing to climate change by emitting more greenhouse gases, or it is supporting or combating the impact of climate change by absorbing the carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. So if it is absorbing, it's great. You don't have to do anything. But if it is emitting carbon dioxide in like considerable amount, then it will be a basis for the management authorities to manage the basin in such a way that it will absorb more carbon dioxide and reduce the greenhouse gas emissions, particularly carbon dioxide.
Anju, what sort of challenges are you facing during your PhD study and how are you overcoming it?
There are a couple of challenges as an international student. The first one is the English, because you are a PhD candidate and the expectation is you need to have advanced level of English. You might realize that while you are writing papers or submitting your articles to different journals. That is one problem I'm facing right now. And to overcome that problem, I just prepare the draft of the article, send it to supervisor or co-supervisor. And if they don't have any time to look at my article, then I just send it to my colleagues who are native speakers. So I get comments from them, and then I just start to work from there. And another challenge is maintaining work and family life. I have a 2.5 years old baby, and then PhD is not like other type of degrees, like you go to university, you just attend class, do the assignment, and you pass the exam, and then you just get the degree. But PhD is different. You have to 70 hours per fortnight to work on a PhD project. So it's very challenging task. And to overcome that, I'm applying for a childcare subsidy, but until I don't get that, I have to share the care of my baby with my husband. So that are the main strategies I'm using right now. But yeah, I don't know later what kind of challenges I'll face.
Anju, previously you have mentioned that you have done research about the global warming climate change. Can you please share some simple tips to control these changes by the general people?
Yeah, so I don't know, I can make you understand or not, because a lot of people who don't have experience or knowledge about this, they might find it a little bit difficult to understand. But I think everybody knows that the main reason for climate change is increasing greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, so particularly the carbon dioxide. So if I have to give simple tips, then we have to reduce the emission of the carbon dioxide. So it may be reducing pollution or doing proper waste management, or developing certain rules and regulations which will just minimize the carbon dioxide emissions from the environment.
Anju, I also migrated from Nepal, and I have seen lots of students who are studying Bachelor of Environment Science in Nepal, and they don't find the scope in Nepal, and they are migrated to Australia. But when they came to Australia, they changed the course, but they don't think of studying the environment science like master, PhD. Why is that? Can you share some reasons?
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said before, some people want to earn a lot of money. It may be because of it. That is not a wrong thing, because they might have some family responsibilities. They might have brother and sister who are still studying, and your parents want you to support them financially. So what they do is they just make it a pathway to enter Australia. So their main motive is earn money. They are just using that degree for the pathway for earning money only, not for their professional development. That's what I understand, but there may be other reasons as well. But in my case, I didn't want to do that. I just came here to do Master of Research in the field I did my bachelor's and master's on. So that helped me.
I think lots of the people don't have idea who have studied Bachelor in Environment Science. They really don't know the scope here in Australia. Can you please share some scope so that those people who are watching us can have an idea about the scopes of environment science?
Yeah, I think there are a lot of scopes, not only in Australia, in Nepal, and I think all over the world. I like environmental science because you can work in any sector. Like if you want computer based work, you can do modeling or remote sensing or GIS. If you love working in the natural environment in field, you can go and then collect soil, vegetation, and then collect the real time data. And sometimes you may want to work in the lab. So in environmental science, you can work in the lab as well. So there are a lot of areas within environmental science where you can use your skills, or you can use those perspective to enhance your research skills. So I do not say just come to the environmental science sector because we are lacking researchers. There are a lot of researchers who are already doing research for hundreds of years. So yeah, if are really interested in this sector, then it's not a bad subject to be in. Yeah, it's a good subject.
Anju, where do you see yourself after 5 years after completing your PhD degree?
After finishing my PhD, I want to do a postdoc so I can continue in the academia sector. But I also want to do some work in the industry sector, like in some projects like government or non government organizations. But At present, I'm open to anything. You don't know what you will get after 4 to 5 years and what will happen to you. So I'm open to anything, but I will continue to contribute to environmental science sector.
It was great talking with you, Anju. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope lots of changes will be done through you in the environment science sector, and lots of climate control awareness and global warming awareness will be done by you.